Sid Rosenberg.
The one and only Sid.
Live, local, on it.
You never know what's going to happen.
Exclusively.
Party and Sid.
77 WABC.
With the ball, the bang, the bang, diggy, 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 send the boogie, send up, jump the boogie. Ball with the ball, the bang, diggy, 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 send the boogie, send up, my name is
My son Gabriel loves this song. Good morning. Beautiful Tuesday morning here in New York City. Welcome back to the Bernie and Sid chart here on legendary 77 WABC.
Your son Gaby is a Beach Boys fan?
This is the Beach Boys, yeah.
At his age? Wow.
Right. We had some Beach Boys earlier today on the Amish show, but this, of course, is Kid Rock, and I guess Kid Rock made some news last night, Bernard, didn't he?
He certainly did, Sid. He was doing a concert somewhere, I believe, in the Midwest.
It was in Boston, I think, Fenway Park.
Yeah,
that's the Midwest.
Like I say.
Yeah, right there.
The Midwest.
Yeah.
I couldn't be more wrong. So, yes, in the middle of the concert, referring to, Colin Kaepernick, take a listen, cut 9.
Nice.
Yes.
Love that.
Love him.
Fantastic.
Colin Kaepernick actually played last night. You know, he's the backup quarterback for the 49ers. He makes about $20 million a year, got a $100 million contract. Doesn't even start. He's the backup. But because San Francisco was beating the Rams so easily last night, they won 28-0. They put him in at the very end of the game to hand off the football 3 times and go home. Basically, that was it.
Tell me he got booed.
He got booed.
He did, really?
No, it was in San Francisco. I wouldn't know because it was over about 1 o'clock in the morning, and I was fast asleep.
Pull that crap here in New York City.
They wouldn't do it.
A Giant game, and they put the guy in at the end of the game. The Giants fans would boo the hell out of him.
Right, but out in San Francisco, they're different.
They would put San Francisco, they are a little different.
Right.
But they would put the injustice being perpetrated by an ignorant person like himself over their little stupid team.
I agree.
I think they would.
I think so, too. I actually sent Mike Tannenbaum, a very, very good friend of mine. Bernard, he used to run the Jets. Now he runs the Miami Dolphins. And the Dolphins, of course, have been in the news quite a bit because, like Kaepernick, 4 of their players took a knee during the national anthem Sunday in their loss in Seattle against the Seahawks. On 9/11, mind you, even the beautiful Kate Upton went at the Dolphins on Twitter. And I sent Mike Tannenbaum a personal message this morning right to his cell phone, an actual text. And I'll read it to you. I hate doing stuff like this, but I was compelled to do it. I said, hey, Mike,
yeah, you hate it.
I hate it. I said, hey, Mike, off the record, because we are good friends and I always root for you. I hate to say this, but what your 4 guys did during the national anthem in Seattle Sunday was despicable, especially on 9/11.
Especially they were standing right behind a Marine who was holding an American flag.
Exactly.
I think that was pretty despicable. So Kate Upton, shout out to her, props to her, and you too, Sid Rosenberg.
Yeah, she's getting beat up by Jameel Hill, and I was getting beat up by Roland Martin, and I mean, it's the deal.
So this is what this ESPN host that you just referred to, Jameel Hill, tweeted. Just wondering if Kate Upton sent support tweets when unarmed black men were killed. Just asking. That goes to again what I've said now at this point ad nauseum. That this is all predicated on a falsehood or predicated on ignorance, maybe willful ignorance, but it's all based on a lie. This whole thing, and it's poisonous. It's detrimental to society in general. Look, sports is now being again. You're creating sides. People are at odds with each other. Yeah. But also in the inner cities, violence is rising, according to the New York Times, because of the Ferguson effect. Because the people hate the cops because they think the cops are out to get them, and so the cops are not being proactive, and people are dying. And it's all false. There is no epidemic. Stats show that. There's absolutely nothing to any of this. There's this notion that cops are shooting unarmed black males, as Jameel Hill put out there in her stupid tweet.
Well, I'm glad you said that because on Twitter again yesterday, at Sid Rosenberg and at Bernie and Sid, some guy came at me. He goes, oh, yeah, Sid? Well, what about Tamir Rice and the guy in Louisiana and the guy in Minnesota, and I forget all their names, and Freddie Gray? He goes, I can go on forever. I said, really? No, you can't. Go on forever if you can. You name
Right,
5
you can't.
people.
And-
You name 5, 2 of which are disputable. You go. Tamir Rice is not, but go on forever. Go ahead. He goes, believe me, I can.
And also, it's also predicated on the notion that we wouldn't care if cops were killing unarmed black men and young black males like Tamir Rice, that we wouldn't give a crap, that we're so callous or we
Racist.
We're racist.
When it comes from Jameel Hill and folks like that, that's the point.
Insulting. We would absolutely care. Again, the cop in Chicago that shot the kid in the street 17 times.
That's disgusting.
In cold blood, disgusting. He deserves to be in life in prison at the very least, if not worse.
And he did get
exactly right.
Same thing with the guy in South Carolina who shot the guy in the back. But listen, the detractors will tell you that, look, the Freddie Gray thing, everybody was acquitted. That never should have been the case.
Listen, the judge, it was a black judge. It was a black prosecutor. She didn't bring an adequate case. They were black cops. And in case things did go awry in Baltimore with the justice system, you always have the attorney general, who is a black woman. She succeeded a black man. They have the last say, the last word in anything that transpires. They can bring charges if the local authorities screw up. And they didn't. Because why? Because they can't. Because there was no injustice. Sure, the guy was arrested.
Right.
He had a rough ride, but it was a black cop, so it's not racist. It's more a justice, it's a law and order versus
I think
the inner city.
Part of the argument too is not just black people getting killed by cops. Part of the argument too is just what black people go through on a daily basis, getting stopped more often than whites, being profiled more often than whites. It's not just about the cops killing unarmed black men. It's what the claim is that every single day life for a black guy is much more difficult than a white guy.
And that does bring it to a different conversation, because sociologically that is where the crime is. That's why the cops are engaged.
I said that to Tony Powell this morning. I said, listen, that's fine, and you may have an argument, but if we're going to be serious about this, African-American community, that's where most of the crime is.
But I'm glad that somebody is conceding. We're winning the argument on the cops shooting black males. That is not true, and that's what Colin Kaepernick is basing his nonsense on.
Right.
That's what a lot of other people. That's what Jamili Hill based it on with her tweet. Front page of the New York Daily News this morning. It has a picture of the cop who choked out Eric Garner. He's making a lot of money, overtime pay. It's kind of obscene in a lot of people's eyes. But listen, who's the mayor of this city? It's Bill de Blasio. Who is the police commissioner? It's Bill Bratton, a Hillary Clinton supporter. Has he not resigned?
Oh, I guess he still is.
He
right?
still is.
No.
This month.
No, they put O'Neill in right away, didn't they?
No.
Okay, so he's still there.
He resigns this month.
Okay.
So anyway, you have Bill Bratton, who's the police commissioner. If this cop did something wrong, now they had a departmental investigation. Bill Bratton is saying he's going to wait for the outcome of the federal civil rights probe, which is Attorney General Lynch. So you have a Hillary Clinton supporter, Bill Bratton. You have Bolshevik Bill de Blasio, who hates cops. And that's why this guy still has that's why he still has a job, even though he's doing desk duty. So there's no racism involved here. It's just due process. It's taking a long time, I grant you. But and I didn't like the way this guy was. He was selling loose cigarettes, and he ended up dying.
Well, hold on. Listen, in all fairness, he shouldn't have died. But at the same time, the guy was obesely overweight. He was in horrible shape. He had some other medical conditions prior.
Agreed.
Not everybody who was put in that chokehold would have died that day.
You had 25 people surrounding him, 25 cops. You could have maced him maybe or something. Okay, whatever.
But don't act like his weight and his prior health had nothing to do with the reason why he died. It did.
But justice is being done. Justice is being adjudicated. It's taking a while, but that's the wheels of justice sometimes turn slowly.
Yes.
And a little too slowly, perhaps, but they are.
For some people.
1-800-848-9222, Bernie and Sid on WABC. So anyway, yes, he made $120,000 at his desk, but the people in charge, again, it's a Hillary Clinton supporter, Bill Bratton, and you have Attorney General Loretta Lynch. So who are they directing? Who's Colin Kaepernick directing his anger at when it comes to these kids? For example, this case.
He doesn't know. And here's what aggravates me the most, and I was actually shocked and upset to hear Mike Lupica agree with me, because he said it on the Imus show an hour after I said it, which was, he's got no credibility, Colin Kaepernick, not because his girlfriend pushes him into what he's about to say, but if you know anything about the story, he wore socks. On those socks were pigs dressed as police. He wore those socks before he started kneeling for the national anthem. Once he did that, he loses all credibility as somebody who was out there for the good cause. And he did that before he started kneeling for the national. To me, that was insulting. That was hate. So the fact that now he's being thrown around as a martyr and a hero by some people after wearing socks with cops dressed as pigs prior to that is disgusting. People like Jameel Hill should be humiliated, if not fired.
Why not? Why is Kurt Schilling and who's the old coach that we had on here? Mike Ditka. Mike Ditka. I thought ESPN people were not supposed to opine. I thought that was
not different story.
The policy.
Right.
That's an aside.
Not with Jameel.
I don't give a rat's ass about ESPN, but I thought that was the policy from them. Yes, and Lupica also reiterated what I had said a little earlier, what I just said now, which is there's no epidemic of police shootings of black males in this country. It just does not exist. It's a falsehood, and it's a poisonous falsehood. It's dangerous. It's costing people lives. So stop doing it.
Kind of a different Mike Lupica than the one I saw on television with Roland Martin on MSNBC yesterday. That seemed like Kaepernick, what he's doing is fine, and, let's go, move on.
What are you trying to say? He's tailoring?
Well,
hey, listen.
It was a home game in Imus's home stadium, and he knows Imus and the fans, and I think good old Mike, played the crowd.
Speaking of which, you've had some harsh words from Mike Lupica in the past. And
the past meaning about 4 hours ago on Imus?
Well, yeah, 4 hours. And in days gone by.
Yes.
Oftentimes, I should say. Right. So Lupica was here, and you were here. You crossed paths. What happened?
Well, what happened was I was sitting in the back office with Rob Bartlett and Tony Powell from the Imus in the Morning Show, two very, very funny men. And Tony and I were having a very civil conversation about the whole Kaepernick thing, which was nice to see, a white guy and a black guy having a nice civil conversation about this issue. Make a long story short, I see Rob and Tony waving to somebody, and all of a sudden that somebody, miniature, walks to the door. And the next thing I see is Mike Lupica staring down at his phone. I'm on the couch conversing with Tony Powell. Bartlett is on his computer. Lupica's not saying a word. I finish my conversation with Tony Powell. Lupica jumps in to talk to Tony. Still at this point, he has not looked my way. I am 5 feet from the guy. He has not looked my way. Hasn't looked up. Hasn't acknowledged me. Won't even look at me. He starts to talk to Tony. I get up. I leave the office. I purposely give a little elbow nudge on the way out.
Oh, you bumped him.
Not a word, not a look, nothing.
He hates you.
He hates me, and he's also scared.
Are your feelings hurt?
Yes.
1-800-848-WABC. Bernie and Sid back after this.
At AtlanticHealth.org.
Bernie and Sid. Live, local, on at 77 WABC.
Hey, listen up. This is old Mike Dick, and you're listening to Bernie and Sid, 77 ABC.
Who was that?
That was Coach Mike Ditka.
Oh.
He used to be on the part of the ESPN Countdown crew, which they've now changed because a bunch of guys said some horrible things, and a bunch of guys were about to get suspended, and a bunch of guys just moved on. And, boy, the new cast. And I don't watch that show often, but I did watch a little bit Sunday just to see week one. And I couldn't watch the 9/11 memorial anymore. I was just tired of crying. The new cast is really bad. I mean, bad.
The pregame show.
Oh.
That's what the Iron Man was saying that this morning.
He's right.
Yeah. I don't watch
Ditka's gone. I don't watch it either. Trust me. But just week one, I did put it on because I got used to Tom Jackson and Chris Carter and Keyshawn Johnson and all those. I didn't like those guys either, to be honest. But those guys. Light years better than the new crew.
Right.
Light years.
Let's go to Rich from New Jersey. Rich, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Rich.
Yeah, how you doing?
What's up?
Hey, listen, first let me say that I was a victim of police brutality when I was 16 years old. I was beat down by the police while they were calling me the N-word. That's another story.
No, it's not. That's pertinent.
That's a bad thing.
Wrong.
Yeah.
That's absolutely wrong.
That's wrong.
I hope you got some some recourse. Did you sue or what happened?
Oh, absolutely. I sued and everything. This was in the 70s.
Okay.
Let me say this though, that there are injustices over here in America, and it can't be denied. And with this sports figure is saying that he's standing up for the injustices. I don't care how many statistics you come out with saying that there's no epidemic. Any type of way a police officer kills someone that's unarmed, that's a problem, man.
Don't they get arrested when they do that?
Right.
Oftentimes.
And do you think that? Do you think, Rich? Do you think that? Rich, do you think a white guy that was unarmed has never been shot by a police officer? I'm just curious.
I'm not talking about black. See, listen, I'm not talking about black and white. And Colin Kaepernick never said black or white.
No.
He's saying an injustice, man. There's white people getting killed too.
Can I'm
talking about injustice.
Hey, Rich, just take it easy.
Being done to people, not just black people.
Can I just say this, Rich? You take it easy for a second. My father, who's an Irish immigrant, was driving a bus in Manhattan back in the late 60s, and he was actually pulled over by some road cops, and they beat the crap out of him and arrested him, and he was exonerated, and he ended up suing them for police brutality and was awarded a sizable amount of cash. So you're absolutely right.
And that's an injustice, man.
No doubt.
Listen, I got police officers in my family, so I'm not against. Even though I went through that situation, I'm not against police officers, man. And when people say that they're against police brutality, somehow everybody said that they're anti-police. That's not true, man.
Everybody's against police brutality, but this particular Colin Kaepernick thing,
against it.
It's predicated.
Of course they
it's
are.
predicated on the falsehood that cops are shooting young black males in disproportionate numbers. That's what this is all about.
All of this
about cops shooting black males. And there is no epidemic. In fact, more white males, according to studies, Washington Post, New York Times, a black Harvard professor, more whites are shot. That's a fact. So it's a falsehood, and it's a dangerous, poisonous falsehood because it's perpetuating the Ferguson effect, in which cops are not being proactive in inner cities and violence is rising. So people are being hurt because of Colin Kaepernick.
And don't tell us it's not about the black and white thing and the injustices are happening to white people too. Every single football player that has taken a knee the first week of the season, what they all have in common, whether it's Kaepernick in San Francisco, the four Miami Dolphin players, Marshall in Denver, what did every one of those guys have in common?
They make millions.
And they're all black. So don't tell me it's not a black-white thing and there are white injustices too. And he's just pointing out injustice. The guy walked around, Rich, with socks on that had cops dressed as pigs. Once you do that, you lose your credibility. Nobody wants to hear from Colin Kaepernick and this amazing cause he's out there trying to reach when weeks before he was wearing socks with pigs dressed as cops. He's a lowlife.
Just like the guy from Grey's Anatomy, you guys
Jesse Williams,
millions and millions,
$145 million he's worth.
And this is a great country. It's not perfect, but I mean to walk around with a chip on your shoulder. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. There's a different way to do this protest, and it's not by disrespecting the military and the national anthem, in our opinion. 1-800-848-9222. Bernie and Sid back after Nome with the news.
77 WABC. Now.
Yeah, and it was a mom murdered in front of her baby.
77 WABC.
Yeah. Great song. Back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC.
This is a great song. Bush,
that's right.
You like Bush?
I love Bush.
Yeah.
Love me some Bush, baby. Is Bush back? If you know what I'm saying?
No.
No?
I don't think Bush will ever come back.
It's sort of retro, right? No?
Well, I mean,
to be rebellious now,
there's a category.
You know what I mean?
There is a category on the porn, but it's so offensive and disgusting.
Well, to you.
Is it back? Yeah, there's a segment of the population that does heroin too.
But like Milo Yiannopoulos says, being gay has become boring. It's not rebellious anymore. The same thing with trimming it up down there. It's
much better.
You're conforming now.
It's clean and it smells better and it's just better.
Yeah, but a big old bush
stinky bush that collects hair
man.
And it does. It's gross. I mean, it's so disgusting.
What did they do in the 70s, right?
Well, see, I always say this country.
The 60s.
Right. Everything has gotten worse. That's my opinion. Sports has gotten worse. TV has gotten worse. Movies have gotten worse since I was a kid. I thought everything was better when I was a kid. The only thing that's gotten better because of just what you're talking about.
What's that, Pop?
Is porn.
Is porn.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They clean themselves up a little bit.
That's true. Yeah, it was. Well, listen, it all depends on your taste. Very subjective.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
You get variety is the spice of life.
No,
man.
it's not.
You like a little bush?
It's overwhelming in favor of what I'm talking about.
You wouldn't want to see French braids?
Oh.
I don't want to see, red foo in a leg lock down there. Actually, I'm with Sid on this, but I'm throwing it out there because, you played the song, and we didn't plan on this, so it's your fault.
Well, I love Bush, so I wanted to play.
You like Bush, right?
Yeah.
I like Gavin too. Of course, he's done now with his wife, and now Blake Shelton
Hot.
is with that Bush.
Yeah.
I love Blake Shelton.
You're talking about the little blonde. What's her
Gwen
name?
Stefani.
Gwen
Stefani. Yes.
The hollaback girl. All right.
She's overrated, by the way.
Yeah, whatever.
I saw her wear a pair of shorts once on The Voice, and she was doing Blondie's song, The Tide is High.
To your Bush?
And no, her legs were blue. She was so pale.
But you remember, speaking of Blondie, back in the day, in the 70s, how hot
she was hot.
Sultry.
Oh, absolutely.
And she probably had a big old bush.
She probably did. No, now that you say that,
Her
yeah.
husband named the band after her.
I bet you the curtains didn't match the couch either.
I guess back then.
Probably not.
Even all the hot ones, right? I mean, nobody trimmed back then.
I mean, women used to, they would come out from the side
bathing
of the bathing
suits.
suit, right?
I know, it's terrible.
Like Marilyn Monroe. She didn't shave, I'm sure.
No, you're
How do you
right.
know?
Let's look at old bathing suit shots and see if we can see.
You, Marilyn, you mind trimming that thing first? I'll go for a swim and come back, and hopefully the bushes will be trimmed.
Now, was that Ted,
That's
John,
an executive
or Bobby?
Executive order.
There's all three of them, I guess.
Get rid of that thing.
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'll tell you what. Noam stole my thunder on this a little bit, but there was this woman up in the BX. This is this slob Bill de Blasio's New York City. You got the guy in a man bun who ripped off an old lady, 92-year-old woman, reached into her breast and just stole her money, and that punk got arrested. You got bums masturbating on the streets. We were talking about it yesterday in the subways,
right?
Smoking crack out there. You got bums all over the place. And then yesterday, this old woman, this 86-year-old woman, was sitting outside her apartment in her wheelchair.
Where she sits every day.
Up in the Bronx.
Right.
Sid knows the story. Yeah, absolutely. And she had her purse snatched by a chick. The city is it's falling apart essentially. So anyway, she was very vocal. She talked to the New York Post and she said, "I tried to get out of my wheelchair to run after her, but the bitch fled down the street."
Yeah, we have the actual. No one played the audio earlier.
No, I have the audio.
Yeah. Very funny.
So anyway, that's what she said to the New York Post. And this is what she said to various TV outlets. Take a listen.
My pocketbook was like this. And she grabbed my pocketbook. I said, "Bring my pocketbook back." And if I wasn't in this wheelchair, I would have caught her and put my foot up in it. She came over, she said, "Good morning." She said, "It is a good morning." She grabbed the pocketbook and started to run. I couldn't catch her. I wanted to catch her and beat the shit out of her.
If you could say anything to her, what would you say?
I put a bullet through her brain and feed it to the animals. I'm going to get a gun and I'm going to get a permit to carry one, too.
How do you? This woman should be the Attorney General.
Oh, she's great.
You gotta love Bernice Starnes from West Farms in the Bronx, the boogie down right there.
Best part of the story is the girl that took her parking lot, her pocketbook. There was about $100 in there and a bank card. So the cops that came to the scene each chipped in a couple of bucks, and they gave her back the money that was stolen.
Absolutely.
So next time you want to bash the New York City Police Department, you no good bastards out there, the cops gave this lady back the money from their own pockets.
Are there bad apples? Yes.
There's bad doctors. There's bad lawyers. There's bad everything.
That's exactly right. And the perpetuating these falsehoods is dangerous.
But these guys,
very dangerous.
These guys are the ones putting their lives on the line every single day. Look, are some of them skittish? Absolutely. And did that guy in Minnesota die a horrible death for no reason? Absolutely. But if you go into bad neighborhoods all the time and you're being threatened, then guess what? You may make a mistake. It doesn't make it any better. It doesn't let the cop off.
Right.
But I mean, give me a break.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Marlon from Rocky Point. You're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Marlon.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
Not bad.
Listen, I want to see a caller like that last one with the same passion and outrage call about little children, women and men getting murdered, raped, robbed, and assaulted across these cities in the United States. I want to see Kaepernick kneel for them.
You're absolutely
Where's
right.
the outrage about that?
Where's the outrage?
I'm tired of this cop bashing. I'm tired of everything about it.
For Dwayne Wade's cousin, where's the outrage for that?
What are you going to do? There is none.
There you go, Marlon. Excellent
It's
call.
outrageous.
Good point, Marlon.
See,
Good point.
you know what's funny about all this is somebody tweeted me yesterday, Sid, what is so bad about what he's doing? He's generating discussion. And my point is, this is not discussion. What you're doing is you're taking angry folks on Kaepernick's side. They're just getting angry because they can't understand why you don't understand what he's trying to do. You're taking the Kaepernick detractors like me. You're pissing me off even more. This is not a discussion. What you're doing is causing even a bigger divide amongst the folks when it comes to these issues.
And I hate to do this to you, Sid, but your candidate perpetuates the same crap. But I'm telling you, and it's poison. It's pure, it's abject poison is what it is. It's false. It's despicable to pander because she knows better to say that cops are racist, that there is some sort of epidemic or problem with cops shooting young black males. That is disgusting and despicable. And so Colin Kaepernick hears her say it, hears Obama say it, and he thinks, well, maybe there's something to it.
He got that from his girlfriend. I'm not defending Hillary, and it's one of the things I don't like about her, quite frankly, amongst many. She's far from perfect. I know what she is. But this comes from his girlfriend. He's not watching. I got news for you. Kaepernick is not watching Bill O'Reilly tonight, okay?
But what she's doing is equally as despicable and loathsome.
I don't disagree.
Steve from the car, you're on with Bernie and Sid. Where are you, Steve?
Right now, I'm in New Rochelle.
My man.
Passing exit 1590. Good morning, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
No doubt.
Yeah, listen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I haven't heard a single response from Roger Goodell.
No, that is not true. Actually, Roger Goodell, two things. First of all, Stephen Ross, who's a New Yorker, by the way, New Yorker. He owns the Miami Dolphins. He was here 9/11. He congratulated his 4 players for taking a knee Sunday in Seattle, saying that he likes to see his players go out there and believe in the cause. Roger Goodell has said the same thing. He said, and I quote this a couple days ago, I like to see my players out there showing what they feel. So both Steve Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, and Roger Goodell are defending these players' actions.
Goodell is a pusillanimous piece of shizzle. He's a piece of garbage. Wait, Steve, well, I'll give you a shot. But Goodell won't allow the Dallas Cowboys to wear a decal in honor of the cops who were massacred in Dallas. He won't allow them to wear the patriotic cleats on 9/11. And this creep, and he says that I admire what they're doing. Anyway, go ahead, Steve.
You know what? I understand him supporting his players, but I don't think a game is the forum for them to express that. The NFL's got plenty of money. Let them come up with some sort of special time on TV and let these guys air their
See, you know what the problem is, Steve? The problem is, thank you for the call, is people like
political correctness is what it is.
Right, but it's also the hypocrites, because the truth is the NFL is never going to take a stance on anything unless it touches the bottom line. Roger Goodell makes about $40 million a year. You know why? Because the NFL makes a bundle, and he makes a bundle for the owners. Until it affects the bottom line, they're never going to change anything. So you have hypocrites like me who are killing Roger Goodell today, killing the NFL today, but I watched the Giants and the Cowboys on Sunday. I watched the Steelers and the Redskins last night. So Roger Goodell's not going to change his stance unless it hurts the money. And fans, for all the yelling about Ray Rice or Colin Kaepernick, they still show up.
Congressman King yesterday was calling for a boycott of the NFL.
Never going to happen.
Might not be a bad idea, but Goodell is still a piece of garbage, a crap, throwing the cops under the bus for politically correct purposes because he's a coward. Same thing with Hillary Clinton, both of them. Cowards and pusillanimous pieces of shizzle, as I said earlier. 1-800-848-9222. The soup Nazis coming up.
And they love us in
Israel, baby. If I was a rich man.
77 WABC. Traffic and transit.
What's going to happen?
Exclusively.
What is this?
77 WABC.
Medium crab bisque.
I didn't get any bread.
Just forget it. Let it go.
Excuse me, I think you forgot my bread.
Bread, $2 extra.
$2, but everyone in front of me got free bread.
You want bread?
Yes, please.
$3. No soup for you.
Has anyone ever told you look exactly like Al Pacino? You know, Son of a Woman. Hoo-ah! Hoo-ah!
Very good. Very good. You know something? No soup for you! Come back. 1 year.
Jerry, what is it? Something happened to the soup Nazi. Well, what is the matter? Elaine's down there causing all kinds of commotion. Somehow she got a hold of his recipes, and she says she's going to drive him out of business. The soup Nazi says that now that his recipes are out, he's not going to make any more soup. He's moving out of the country, moving to Argentina. No more soup, Jerry. No more for any of us.
Well, where are you going?
He's giving away what's left. I got to go home and get a big pot.
Oh, that is great stuff. Great stuff.
Classic.
Welcome back. Hour number 2 of the Bernie and Sid show right here on legendary 77 WABC. Classic Seinfeld with, of course, the Soup Man himself, who, imagine this, is live in studio right now. A studio filled with soup on the Bernie and Sid show.
With a living legend, Larry Thomas. Good morning. Welcome
to
the Bernie and Sid
you
show.
guys,
See you.
you have your soup in front of you to eat, so I can't say no soup for you.
Man,
you got
9,000
soup.
soups. You've got soup. Although I will say this, you got to know your audience, Larry.
Yep.
One of the hosts' name is Rosenberg. I don't see matzo ball or kraplock soup anywhere.
Yeah.
No soup for the Jews.
Wait a second.
Where's the Jew soup?
Wait, I'm Jewish too, so.
The character was named Zev.
Yev Kassem.
Yev Kassem was a Hebrew name.
That's what I'm
saying. And ironically called the soup Nazi.
Right.
Which now apparently has been scrubbed. They don't use that phrase.
Yeah, we're the Soup Man.
Soup Man.
The original
baby.
Soup Man. This is the soup the episode was based on.
Did you ever think honestly about making a kraplock or a matzo ball or a?
I do make kraplock.
You do? See, that's where you get me right now, right there. Me and you, we're good.
Yep.
Is it delicious?
It is delicious. Made with brisket.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Explain to Bernard because he's going. He wouldn't know. The kraplock is kind of like a Jewish wonton, right?
Yeah, exactly. And you try to get the dough that thin.
Right.
And then you put it in the chicken soup.
Is goyim a slur in Hebrew?
Yes.
No, it's just anyone who's not Jewish.
Okay.
A guy that's not Jewish.
Right, that's good. I thought Sid and I were about to throw some punches.
A woman who's not Jewish is a shiksa.
And that's right. And a guy's a shagitz. You're a shagitz, just so you know.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well.
I like to shake it. Shake it, baby. Hey, Larry Thomas.
Baby, shake it.
Listen, the Soup Nazi was the 116th episode, and it was just one episode, which is surprising, seeing how it's an infamous, one of the most famous episodes ever. And were you in the soup business before that?
No, I was not. I was just, an actor looking for work, and then because of the kind of thin line of reality people have with the TV they watch. So many years I have people coming up to me and going like, "Hey, I went to your store on 55th Street and you weren't there, and are you upset because Elaine got your recipes?" And
right.
And it's like, that was a TV show, right?
Right.
But we finally decided to go full circle and make it real, and now I'm actually the Soup Man, which is Al Yeganay, who really created all these soups and all these recipes, and he was the guy that the character was based on.
Oh, is that right?
So now we've taken these soups on the road, and they're in Tetra cartons and available in your supermarkets, Gristedes, Fairways, ShopRite, Acme Foods, Met Foods, Key Foods, and then all over
everywhere.
The country, down
all over
south, and Winn-Dixie, and Publix, and all over the country, and Kroger's and Safeways. We're everywhere.
Do you, like dealers, for example, they never do their own drugs. They just sell them.
Yeah.
Do you actually eat your own soup?
I do. I'm a bad dealer because I eat my own soup.
That's a talent.
I love it.
From what I hear.
Yeah.
Hey, so it's the soup. We're eating the soup right now. It's fantastic. The episode. It was great. The episode was 1995. It was the 7th season of Seinfeld. And I guess, how many years did they go ultimately? They went
9 seasons.
9 seasons. So you were
season 7.
Season 7 when they were in their heyday, I guess you would say. And how was it working with? They were legendary at that point.
Well, yeah. I mean, how did it even happen? How did they just come to you one day and go, "Listen, we're going to use your soup store"? Like, how did it even happen?
Actually, what happened was I was looking for a job, and Jeffrey Tambor was in my acting class, and he did me a favor. He was on the Larry Sanders show, and I asked him to set up a meeting with me and the casting director, which he did. And the casting director, Mark Hirschfeld, was the same guy that was casting Seinfeld. So after meeting, the role came up a little bit later, the Soup Nazi, and so I got a shot at it.
And also because you look a little Stalin-esque, from what I understand. You had that harsh...
I actually looked like Saddam Hussein.
Saddam, Stalin, and
a little bit.
Maybe a little Adolf.
And now, I played Saddam on Arrested Development and played Osama bin Laden in a movie called Postal. So
how about that?
I'm the Jewish boy that's played all the notorious Arabs.
Can Gaddafi be far away from
That's next.
That's next.
See,
that's
now knowing people that are sick love soup. The biggest story in the country today, Larry, is the Democratic nominee, Hillary Clinton, right now suffering at home in Chappaqua, New York, from pneumonia and needing as many fluids as she can possibly get. How do you guys not show up at the front door?
I know, we got to bring her. We got to bring her the chicken noodle. We have chicken noodle in Tetra cartons.
Who wouldn't pick the soup man himself in Hillary Clinton's house feeding her chicken soup?
We got to get Bill to run to the supermarket and get some of our chicken noodle for
Bill,
her.
do it.
Come on, Bill.
Stop by over here. I would like to put some nice flavoring in the soup before you head up to Chappaqua. Being a Trump supporter.
That is Bill's specialty.
We actually...
wait a second. That's not what I meant, but... I'll go with that.
We surmise for some reason, we don't even know you before 15 minutes ago, but for some reason, maybe Bernard didn't, I don't want to put words, I surmise he said you're a Trump supporter, that you're going to vote for Donald Trump.
No.
Really?
No, not at all. No, that's what he said. He said because you're a New Yorker.
I took your name out of it,
but then you told us you're from L.A. You're not voting for Trump.
Nope.
So you're a Hillary guy. That's okay.
I am.
All right, that's fine.
Why is that?
Why is that? Trump, what would you say to Trump then if he asked for your soup?
No soup for you.
Why do you vote? I'm a Hillary endorser. I've also endorsed Hillary, but why you? What do you like about
Well, first of all, I think she's highly qualified for the job. She's been doing this for years. She knows how to pass a bill if she can do it. I hate these candidates that are saying, I'll do this, I'll do that. It's like, have you ever tried to pass a bill through a Congress that may be of the other party?
I hate to get too in the weeds with you, with the soup man here, but she got 3 bills passed in her tenure as a senator, which was 8 years? She got 3 bills passed, and they were renaming highways out of 300 that she proposed. She got 3 of them passed, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. I don't want to debate the soup man.
No, it's not.
Let me ask you this question:
You're not going to talk him out of it.
Would you spit in Donald Trump's soup and then serve it to him?
I could do. I did a movie where I was I was an evil stagecoach supply wagon driver, and I spit in the supply water. So the movie's called Redemption for Robbing the Dead. It's a really good Western.
And they were treating you poorly, and you actually spit in the supply water.
That was just evil. There was a guy that.
Oh, this is part of the movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
and I was so I could do that. I could.
No, I mean it's not in real life.
Yeah, I'm asking in real life.
No, one time I did stick my penis in somebody's calamari at Fridays. I swear to God, I'm completely serious. I swear to God, it was horrible.
Are you 86th in that Fridays?
I fried a long time ago.
Squid and shrimp at the same time. That's pretty much what happened. So we're talking to the soup man, Larry Thomas. He was infamous notorious, I would say, as the soup Nazi in 1995, the 7th season, the 6th episode. And he's selling delicious soup.
Yes, really delicious.
Which look at Flirty is here.
I ate the whole thing.
Which one is
Tell
this
everyone
one?
how good it is.
Which one is this one?
That's the shrimp gumbo.
That's
the chicken gumbo.
That's the chicken gumbo,
it is outstanding.
which is outstanding. And we have the shrimp bisque. We're also that's our brand new soup, the shrimp bisque. And we actually have 7 varieties now in Tetra cartons. We have
when you say Tetra cartons, people don't know. It's a little box. It's like a juice box, like a little bigger than a juice box for kids. That's what a Tetra carton is, and it's a full meal.
Yes, and these cartons have a shelf life of 2 years.
Wow!
And it's the newest and freshest way to have ingredients, and especially in something like soup, so you can have lobster and crab and shrimp and all these great ingredients in these things, much more than you ever could in cans.
And I've had this, the gumbo. It's fresh, it's delicious, and now you got to think, like Campbell's, for example. They have all that stuff they have in their soup. Every once in a while, somebody comes out like botulism or something. So you got to think, are they going to start to use what you're using?
Yeah, this is the new wave, definitely. Everybody will be doing this soon, but we're ahead of the curve.
Can't you patent it or something, or make sure they can't do it, or can't you do something? keep it just for the soup man?
Just for us.
Yes.
Can I tell you what's sad?
God, excuse me.
Nice, that's beautiful. At least
but that's a compliment to the soup.
Listen, we were sitting in here in the studio sucking down a bunch of soup, and our engineer, who is back there, he's just salivating. He's like he's a gourmet.
Right. We'll bring him some.
He's a great kid. He's a French fry short of 400 pounds.
But that's essentially my point. Now, listen, let me ask you this question. Larry Thomas, the soup Nazi from the infamous episode in 1995, the soup Nazi. Larry, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She was, back then, you watch the episodes and you look at her and you're like, But now, the woman has aged like a fine wine.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
She's great. She's beautiful. She's talented. And, working with her, she's very kind. She lets you know when you're funny. She compliments you, and she's just a doll to
nice
work
lady,
with.
Right?
Really.
Have you guys seen Veep? She's
she's good.
That's what I'm
she's
saying.
Fantastic on Veep.
You sort of drool over her?
Yeah, a little
these
bit.
days. Not so much back then, though, right?
No, I've always thought she's gorgeous.
You were more into Costanza. You seem like that. But it's okay. Nothing wrong with that.
What about Michael Richards? He went through the whole thing with the whole racist thing and all that. What about all that?
That was a tough thing for him. I didn't spend that much time, so I don't really know the guy personally. But that was someone once said, if there's no such thing as bad publicity, he found it.
Does Jerry Seinfeld help you out at all with this product?
No, Jerry's not involved with the Soup Man. Actually, Jason
Alexander
has helped us out.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's very charitable and just a very nice guy. I wrote a book and he wrote the foreword for me.
Wow.
He's quite a guy.
No.
Should you name the soup after some cast members? Some, Kramer,
what would you call
Elaine or whatever,
Yeah, we'll have to dedicate some soups to the Elaine,
the Newman.
The Newman. There you go.
Well, the Newman would be our jambalaya.
Right. There you go.
Of course, from the episode, which is in Tetra cartons. It's one of our varieties.
The Julia Louis-Dreyfus would be very hot.
Very hot.
You have to serve it steamy, baby.
And then when you do, in fact, come out with the matzo ball soup, you can name that after me.
Okay. We'll do that.
Well, listen. Larry Thomas, we're out of time right now. But the soup Nazi is the soup man. Excuse me, the soup man. We've purged the word Nazi from the product. It's the soup man. He's got the soup here.
Fantastic.
He's selling it. It's on the shelves. Look for it. It's delicious. We're sucking it down here in the studio.
We're going to tweet a picture, too. You can see Larry sitting right in front of him. There's about 8 of his boxes. We're going to tweet that at Bernie and Sid. And I'm not just saying this because he's sitting here, because if his soup sucked, you know me, I would say, listen, I like that on Seinfeld, but your soup sucks. This soup is great.
Great. Jambalaya, crab, corn chowder, lentil, lobster bisque, chicken noodle, and he's going to bring some up to Chappaqua for Hillary Clinton.
How about that? Yes.
Yes. So
he's a chicken noodle for Hillary.
So anyway, all the luck to you. Thank you for coming in.
Wait,
Thank
you gotta
you.
say the famous line one more time. If
One more
Donald
time.
Trump orders soup from you, you say,
No soup for you.
Back on Bernie and Sid.
Still funny.
WABC after this.
77 WABC. Traffic and Transit.
In Queens, the Grand Central Parkway westbound near Hoyt Avenue. That accident still there in 2 lanes, causing delays.
Brewer, and you're listening to Bernie and Sid. Who else would you be listening to?
She called these patriotic men and women every vile name in the book. She called half of our supporters a basket of deplorables in both a speech and an interview. She divides people into baskets as though they were objects, not human beings.
Back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC. Trump, he eviscerated the...
Good for him. Way to go.
He did. He really did. He had a great day yesterday.
I actually thought what she said was horrible when she called 50% of Trump's supporters deplorable, because truth is it's more like 75%. So that's what I found. The worst part of her statement was not that the fact she called some of you guys, not you particularly, Bernard, deplorable, is that she actually, you should be happy, she lowered the percentage, because most of the Trump supporters I talk to are really deplorable.
That's what you talk to, because you provoke people. You're online. You're on Twitter. You're on Facebook. That's what people on Twitter and Facebook do. They look for fights. That's what you people do. That's why you're on Twitter and Facebook. The vast majority of people are out there minding their own business. They're not on Facebook looking to argue with somebody over politics. That's what you do, and that's why you get those ugly retorts.
Are you sure?
positive.
All right.
That's why Kate Upton tweets out. She condemns the 4 Miami Dolphins who took a knee on 9/11.
All right, so
I know
do I.
that, but then she gets some ugly responses.
Right.
The vast majority of people walking around out there don't want Kate Upton to die. But the ones who are on Twitter, who are engaging and looking for fights, they do.
Yeah.
So it's not representative, and so therefore your 75% stat is totally off base.
You're sure? No, you just made
I'm 50% sure.
You just made a very good case.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Now listen, Hillary Clinton did call into Anderson Cooper. Now the woman, obviously, as I mentioned this morning on the Imus in the Morning show, that Zapruder-like tape of her collapsing as they brought her Lindsay Lohan carried her into the Escalade. That prompted her to release the fact that she had pneumonia. She was diagnosed on Friday. It prompted her to lie. To expose the fact that she was covering that up.
We never would have known if she didn't pass out at the 9/11 ceremony. We never would have known.
It is like the blue dress of this campaign.
What do you think about this? And I think this is unfair, too, because I haven't seen...
It's for 77 WABC, where New York comes to talk.
75 Sunshine Midtown right now. I'm Noam Layden on 77 WABC, where New York comes to talk.
Bernie and Sid on demand. You never know what's going to happen. The WABC radio app. Download it now. Upload the BS. 77 WABC.
Hillary Clinton made these comments at one of her high-dollar fundraisers on Wall Street. She and her wealthy donors all had a good laugh. You heard them. They were all laughing. Good, solid laugh. They were laughing at the very people who paved the roads. And these are the roads that she, with all of her security, drive on.
It's an outrage. Back on Bernie and Sid on 77 WABC. Hillary with the snobs out in the Hamptons trashing Trump supporters, the little people, the flyover, the chumps.
Oh, it's fine. He deserves it, and they deserve it. Why do you stop the song for? I like that song, and it's Bruce Springsteen. He's in the news, too, today.
A lot of energy in that song.
Oh, come on. It's a great song. Every song has to have energy.
My favorite.
I like energy.
So do I. And some of his songs, Born to Run, has plenty of energy. This is a little more laid back. This is for you, man. 1 o'clock in the morning, after 4 hours, right before Jersey Girl.
I don't want to
light up a big fat joint. Smoke yourself a Foster's and...
Smoke a Foster's.
You know what I'm saying?
I hear you humming, yo.
But you just hate Springsteen now because he hates Trump.
Well, I never liked Springsteen since 41 Shots.
But the guy's a good artist.
Trashed the cops himself.
No, he did.
Yeah. So and yesterday he was actually, I think we have the clip, cut 8. Cut 80.
With the sheets soaking wet and a freight train running through the middle of my head, only you.
Well, somebody gave me a copy of the Constitution of the United States. It does say Trump on the front of it.
Yeah, it is. There's F Trump on it, man.
Love it. I'm a man.
41 shots, man.
I don't know
the facts, but I'll just trash the cops.
That was a bad one. Good. Whatever. You like Ice-T and Ice Cube, and he had that song, F the Police.
That was a long time ago. Ice Cube.
This was a long time ago, too.
I actually watched Barbershop 3. I swear to God, on the plane.
Great movie.
Going over to Ireland.
Great.
You didn't see it.
I saw all 3.
That's a lie.
All 3, bitch.
Did you really?
Absolutely.
Well, I got to be a bitch.
Brilliant.
Not all Ice are the same.
And let me just say, the messages in Barbershop 3 were fantastic. They were very positive.
Yes,
very
they were.
Positive.
Yeah, but that's a movie.
Oh, so when you trash my boy Ice Cube, just keep that in mind.
Ice Cube hates Donald Trump.
He
quote, I would never endorse that mother effer.
I don't want. He first said some nice things about Donald Trump.
Yeah, what happened?
Caught some flack. So I wouldn't want to be in a foxhole with Ice Cube.
Well, that's fair.
But the movie
may have gone back and forth.
He got a little heat and he backtracked. Okay, so now the movie came. But I watched Barbershop 3 on the way to Ireland.
They're all great. All 3 are great.
It was very You're a liar. You did not see any of those.
All
movies.
3. I've seen them all.
What
Loved
happened?
them all.
What happened in them?
What do you mean what happened? It's inside a barbershop.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you this: the Jewish kid, there's one white kid in the barbershop.
Correct.
In the first two movies.
Right.
What happens to him in the third?
He gets raped.
Eddie from Long Island. Eddie, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Eddie. I don't think Eddie's with us. Well, maybe Crash is just still on the floor
Crash,
laughing.
Eddie, line one.
As somebody who is fainting from heat exhaustion.
Eddie, you may want to start this speech over. I'm sorry.
Eddie is a doctor. Eddie's a doctor, and we're talking about Hillary Clinton's symptoms. Eddie, please go ahead, and we apologize.
No problem. So, people that exhibit heat exhaustion or have fainting spells, their body generally just collapses, and they sort of kind of keel over and kind of slump. From the video, it doesn't look like that at all. In fact, it looks just the opposite to me. It looks more like a rigidity. And if you look at her posture, she's sort of rigid, standing
rigor mortis?
Upright. That to me looks like more like a clonic seizure or some sort of a seizure like grand mal where there's rigidity, maybe even followed by convulsions. But she definitely looks like she's rigid as can be in that video.
I'll show you something rigid, Eddie.
I was waiting for that.
So, Eddie, so you're saying that's symptoms of epilepsy, I think.
This is why I get
if I'm
pissed
not
off.
mistaken.
This is why I get pissed off. See, this is why.
I mean,
you know what? Eddie could be an Uber driver.
That's what I'm trying to
he's
say.
Like, I'm a doctor.
It's enough of this stuff. I mean, take it for what it is. Even though she lies and you can't trust a word coming from her campaign, I agree with all of that. It's enough of all you doctors out there trying to. First, she had Parkinson's, but then again, she has no physical signs of that. Now it's epilepsy. Just stop. Just stop. Stop. Worry about your own patients and make sure they're getting home okay.
Can we worry about it?
I'm just telling you the way it looks.
Okay. The way it looks to me, Eddie, is that you haven't practiced a day of medicine in your life. That's what it looks like to me.
With all due respect, Eddie, I thank you for the call and your input and your insight.
Stupid.
With all due respect.
With all due respect. Stupid.
Angela from Glen Cove, Long Island. Angela, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Angela.
Good morning. How are you?
Hey, Angela.
Fantastic.
I wanted to tell you something about that Soup Nazi episode on Seinfeld.
Yeah.
At the beginning, Jerry has this new girlfriend, and they call each other Schmoopy. Do you remember that?
No, actually.
Yeah, they call each other Schmoopy, and then everyone's sick, to be their so overly public displays, and then the girlfriend in that episode.
Yes, she was very annoying.
Yeah, and then at the end, the Soup Nazi doesn't like her, so he wants to kick her out, and Jerry picks the soup over the girlfriend.
Yes.
But the girlfriend is George Stephanopoulos' real wife.
Oh, wow.
That's who the actress was, yeah.
Wow.
That figures.
That would be
That's impressive.
Alexandra Wentworth.
Nice call.
Yeah, I think that, yeah.
That's
you want to really want to impress me? That's a pretty good call.
I feel bad for her.
You want to really impress me, Angela?
Yeah.
What happened to the Jewish kid in the first two movies of The Barbershop?
Can't help you there.
Hey, Angela, thanks. Paul from Queens.
Okay.
Paul, you're on with Bernie and Sid on WABC. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, Sid, Bernie. Listen, I just want to make a quick comment in regards to Kaepernick's kneeling and the football players kneeling.
Yeah.
Listen, Pat Tillman, right after 9/11, left $1 million contract to go fight.
I think $2 million. I think he's actually about to make $2 million, Paul, from the Cardinals. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you know what? He took the time to do what he had to do to fight evil. All right. Why don't these guys give up their $1 million military contracts and go take a job as a cop?
Damn right.
Excellent
or
point.
as a traffic cop and go stand in the ghetto and see if you get shot at.
Right.
Love it. Love it.
Exactly
All
right.
right, guys.
We're with you, Paul.
Walk the walk instead of talking the BS talk.
Thank you.
Excellent call, Paul. Thank you.
We love you.
Kaepernick, I hope you're listening. Of course he's
I'm sure
not,
he is.
but,
No,
yeah.
he's
He's on
resting up.
WABCRadio.com.
So I got this email yesterday. You know, the reach of Bernie and Sid reaches far and wide.
Speaking of WABCRadio.com, and the app, there's also an app, right?
It's a free app. It's on your iPhone, WABC app, and it goes into Imus and Us and Curtis and Kubi and all the great shows throughout the day. And, we used to be surprised, not anymore. The phone call, the lines would light up when it would be a guy in Michigan, a guy in Kansas, a guy in Florida. That's how far this show reaches. Well, I find out yesterday that it's not just here in the United States. It reads like this. Hey, Sid, just want to drop you a note to say thank you for just being who you are. I live in Israel. Look forward to 5 p.m., so I guess it's a 7-hour difference. I look forward to 5 p.m. my time when you and Bernie get on the air. I grew up in New York listening to you on The Fan, and I've got my entire office listening to you in this godforsaken desert. With all the PC crap going on in the world today, it's nice to know there are still some who stay true to themselves and know how to take things with a grain of salt. Congratulations to you and Bernard on this great success. You and Bernie should be proud and know what you do for those 2 hours a day impacts at least 35 people on the other side of the world from Israel.
Wow.
Keep it up. Shalom.
How you like that?
How about that?
L'chaim.
Ha-ha!
L'chaim.
With a
Rosh Hashanah just a couple of weeks away.
I love this movie.
Yes, but
Tevye.
what was the Pakistan version of this again? Excuse me, the Palestinian version of this again? The ISIS version?
Throw the fiddler off the roof. I think that's what it was. Listen, you know, with this movie, when my kids were young, I used to do this with movies with my kids. We had Jewish night. We watched Fiddler on the Roof. I actually got the corned beef from a kosher deli out in Long Beach, Toledo Kosher Deli.
Sure.
Got corned beef and knishes. And we watched, and by the way, it was the same day my son was circumcised. Just coincidentally. No, I'm only kidding about the last part. But as far as Jewish night, we did that. Watched the movie. I swear to God, it's a true story. The music, tradition.
Yeah, of course.
Matchmaker, sunrise, sunset.
Oh,
great music, man.
Absolutely.
I used to do that with the West Side Story.
So that was Latino night. And
that was Puerto Rican night.
Well, Puerto Rican night.
We had rice and beans, and we drank Cafe Bustelo.
What'd you do on Mexican night?
Well, let's not get crazy. I don't remember.
Well, I mean, did you actually have
Irish night was the quiet man.
A lot of drinking.
We'd have mashed potatoes and beer.
Kids would have.
It's a fact.
Right.
And then we'd start fighting with a couple of fist fights. You know, me and my wife throwing down.
Me and my wife.
No, but it's true. I used to do this with my kids. Godfather, Goodfellas.
Oh, it's great.
Tevye. I don't know. What are you going to do? You take him this way. You're going to marry him. Here, turn it up, man. I love this.
This is why they love us. Who else plays this today? Huh? You're not going to hear that on Joe and Evan.
But a big shout out to our people.
In Tel Aviv this morning, and this afternoon, I should say. In Jerusalem, in Haifa.
If I was a wealthy man,
I wouldn't have to work hard.
We'll have to watch it again today. Got me all fired up.
It's a great movie. You got to have like 3 hours to spare, though. But fantastic. The music's good.
Yeah.
You need to give a shout out. Blow the shofar for the people in Israel.
Blow the shofar?
Blow the shofar, like Sid does.
That's what you do, sweetheart.
Yo, Moishi, you know what it is.
That's coming up, though. Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, blowing the shofar. That's days off for us, just so you know.
Yeah, that's not fair.
Yeah, you're going to take off?
No, you can take off. You're allowed.
No, it's not fair that you guys take that day off and then you take Christmas off. I can't take that day off.
Yes, you can.
No, I can't.
Are you serious?
You know that every year.
You're circumcised.
Right.
That's true.
You're a Zionist?
You know, I didn't get circumcised till I was 7 years old.
That's nuts. Literally.
Excuse me? No, it was traumatic.
By the way, taking off Yom Kippur is no great fun.
And by the way, it was a guy on the third floor that circumcised me.
Just so you know, you can't eat.
It was brutal.
You spend all day in shul. You can't eat. You can't drink. You can't
brush your teeth.
Fornicate. You can't do anything. I'd much rather be here with you.
Guys don't do any of that stuff.
I do all of it.
And you go home and you watch sports.
Barbershop. All three. I watch all three.
This man had a hit. Love it, man.
You should go see it on Broadway.
You should.
Not for $100 a ticket.
No, Ice Cube starring in it next week.
Ice Cube as Tevye.
You should get tickets for free through. What's his name? What's the guy who comes here and does shows once in a while?
Michael Riedel.
That guy.
Why can't he hook us up?
He couldn't even get me Matilda tickets, and I did the show with him the week before.
What is he, an anti-Semite?
I think he is, yeah. It's a horrible thing to say that, but I think he is, yeah.
I don't think so.
Are we just going to play this? We do have to go to commercial, guys.
We do. And Porgy and Bess, too. That was a good night with my kids. That was a very cultural night.
By the way, the guy in Israel, his name is Jay Engelmeyer, and he just sent me another email. He said, all the respect. Thanks for that. It made our day. So he's listening right now.
Mazel tov and shalom.
Guy's probably in Borough Park or something.
I know, right?
Let's be honest.
Just like Dr. Eddie.
Right, Dr. Eddie.
Dr. Eddie.
Right.
He's working in a bagel store somewhere, you know? Back on Bernie and Sid on WABC.